Smuggalana made this post and got a lot of attention where she says, "Why does at YouTube hate VTubers so much, man? On April 28th, my reach and impressions dropped to 0 overnight and killed all my videos. 0 strikes / warnings. Was I caught in an AI inauthentic content sweep because I'm a VTuber? Please review and fix this."
Wait, YouTube, why is nobody watching my content? Gee, I wonder. Maybe it's because your content sucks and it's boring, and that's why I stopped watching it. I saw the writing on the wall. Okay, I unironically, I liked watching Leaflet more. I found her content more enjoyable than yours. Leaflet, and like that's because of how overt her rhetoric is, her messaging. Okay, she's an overtly racist person, okay, and she dog whistles as well. That's why people watch her content. That's it, okay? Smuggalana doesn't do that as good as Leaflet. I look at her content, and it's the same as it was a year ago. It's the same as it was 2 years ago. Maybe even further back. I don't know. But she's just, you know, it's lame. Okay, do something different. Today, we're gonna watch a few videos. And we're starting with Rev Says Desu. This video is called "Something is Very Wrong Here."
Hey, what's up,
this video looks very interesting.
So you know it's a pretty bleak situation when on any given day I can make a video talking about major issues going on with YouTube as a platform. There has been a whole slew of cases recently where YouTubers are being negatively impacted largely due to the efforts of YouTube's AI moderation. And unfortunately, today is no exception to that. We're going to be talking about some more content creators, in particular VTubers, who are being negatively and unfairly targeted by YouTube's AI moderation system. Now, over the past couple of days, we have talked a lot about one particular issue, and that is the full-scale channel demonetization many creators are facing. Hundreds of channels have lost their monetization due to AI moderation from YouTube flagging their channel as inauthentic content, basically telling these very real channels run by human beings that their content is so regurgitated and so mass-produced and inauthentic that there is no human involvement whatsoever. Obviously, if you checked out these actual channels for yourself, you would realize within seconds these are real channels run by real people, but the AI moderation system is flagging these channels left and right, and YouTube is not doing a very good job at fixing these problems. And also, don't look to the media or anything like that to help you out because nobody is reporting on this, which I find very suspicious. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about some related issues, especially with AI moderation on YouTube, involving the VTubers Smuggalana and Leaflet, who, their content I enjoy. I've reacted to them and covered them before, and they've reacted to some of my videos, and I'm sure a lot of you guys probably have them.
I've reacted to them too. And I've reacted to some of your videos too, Rev. Yo, it's so crazy. 2 out of the 3 people in this image, or I should say two out of the 3 VTubers in this image, I know for a fact.
Are you sure?
That they are pedophiles or pedophile protectors.
And they're unfortunately being targeted by YouTube and their AI moderation system, just like these other channels.
I'm not going to tell you which ones.
So let's begin with Leaflet. This is a very cut and dry case where Leaflet recently had a video removed from their YouTube channel, and they were hit with a strike, which is a very big deal when it comes to a YouTube channel. Now let's hear the context, because I heard about this on screen yesterday, but I did not have context. But Leaflet today has made this tweet describing the situation while tagging Team YouTube and trying to get some answers and some corrections to these clear errors. So Leaflet says, at Team YouTube, you were removed and given a strike on one of my recent videos due to harassment and cyberbullying policy, which according to you, and I quote, content that targets someone with prolonged insults or slurs based on their intrinsic attributes. This includes, but is not limited to, content that is uploaded with the intent to shame, deceive, or insult a minor. So they say the minor in question, and the video in question, is where Simone H. Collins plays with his kids, and in one instance calls them little bastards, as an affectionate nickname. Policing how parents express love to their children is obviously happening in the scene.
Look, I didn't say it in the video where I actually reacted to that video, and that'll be coming out. Well, by the time I upload this one, it should have already come out, but yeah, I mean, I didn't say anything in the video, but I thought that was kind of weird. You know, I'm not going to tell other people what to call their kids, right, as long as it's not, like, a slur, I guess. But, like, little bastards, that's, you know, that's inappropriate, okay? It is. Now, anyway, is that, like, strike-worthy? I mean, it's one of those things where, like, technically that definitely does violate YouTube's guidelines, but, you know, this isn't, like, that serious, you know, if I'm being completely honest. Like, you know, it's just like, You know, first of all, I don't remember if Leaflet said it. I think she laughed at it when he said it. So maybe they thought that's kind of messed up. Like, they call the kids little bastards, and then she, like, chuckles at it. Maybe that's why there was a strike. Like, her reaction to it was positive. You know? Almost like, you're endorsing that kind of behavior. But, like, still, I don't see this as an egregious offense. I also don't see it as, like, technically incorrect, though. Alright, let's be so for real.
Dystopian. Many of us have memories of being called things like little monsters with affection, and trying to reframe that as abuse is ghoulish. I hope this wasn't...
Okay, that's not the same thing, though. That's not the same thing, though. Like, calling a child a little monster, that is completely appropriate. There is no question about it. Like, that, there's no quandary there. Okay. Calling them bastards, that's kind of fucked up. That's, like, not good for a child. Like, calling a child a bastard is not cool, whether it's their parents saying it or someone else, okay? Especially when you understand what the word bastard means.
I hope this was just some kind of mistake, or an action by an
Not that the children themselves know that, okay? But, like children don't need to hear words like that, okay? Because children are curious. And they'll ask questions, and they'll say, oh, what is a bastard? They might look it up. They might see what it means, and then, you know, they might think, well, why is my dad saying that to me? Why would my dad say that to me? You know, like
moderator. If this is indeed against the rules, please tell us plainly.
Again, I don't think that this is, like, the most egregious thing. I wouldn't really call this, like, child abuse, okay? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not, like, a social worker or anything. Like, you know, I don't really have any kind of qualifications to say when something is or isn't child abuse, but at the same time, like, the way I see it is this isn't that, okay? Or if it technically is, it's not like it's not like beating a child, you know? It's not like there's levels to this shit.
You think this kind of endearing moment is too far?
It's not even like child neglect, you know?
I'm not gonna play it. You can see what's happening here, right? His kids are playing in the background. This is playing in Leaflet's video, and he affectionately calls them little bastards. Like, you know, many parents do. Obviously, this was not meant to demean or hurt their feelings. It was just a playful nickname given to the kids in this clip. But, according to YouTube, this went too far and resulted in a strike for harassment and cyberbullying, which this rule has been used in some very diabolical ways over the years, but in this case it seems completely and utterly ridiculous, and I believe personally this whole thing happened because of AI moderation. That was likely why it was flagged in the first place, and it was likely why it was reviewed and given a strike, because if any...
No, this wasn't AI. It wasn't. I don't think it was. I don't think AI could, like, detect that it was children in the image that he was talking to. Like, no, that doesn't make sense to me. But, anyway, this strike may be lifted. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but, like, this is, no matter what, this is a violation of community guidelines. It may be upheld. I don't know. It's just not like it's kind of a gray area, you know? But anyway, it is certainly too far, like, from a parenting perspective, okay? And I'm not a parent either. Oh my god, J-Star's not a parent. But, like, look. Excuse me. You should not call your children bastards. You just shouldn't do that. Okay? Like, it's not playful. It's not funny. You know? It's like how you shouldn't call your child a fuckhead. You know, is that, like, the worst thing ever? To call your child that? It's certainly not, okay? But it's still wrong. You still shouldn't do it. It's just a fact.
Look at this. They would know. There's nothing worth striking a channel for, taking down an entire video for. And unfortunately, at the very least, we have some AI moderation issues, but also it could be an overzealous moderator. But someone needs to look at this and fix this issue. And with this situation and the next situation, I will provide a link to this tweet in the description if you guys want to share this post, because that is the best way, unfortunately, to get the attention of YouTube, specifically through their team YouTube account. because unfortunately you can't get into contact with anyone at YouTube. You have to go to Twitter and tag team YouTube and hope for a response that way. So that is the situation with Leaflet. Let's move on to the situation with Smug Alana, which is a little more complicated, but I think a very valid set of complaints and something worth talking about. So Smug Alana made this post that got a lot of attention where she says, "Why does at YouTube hate VTubers so much, man? On April 28th, my reach and impressions dropped to 0 overnight and killed all my videos. 0 strikes / warnings. Was I caught in an AI inauthentic content sweep because I'm a VTuber? Please review and fix this."
Wait, YouTube, why is nobody watching my content? Gee, I wonder. Maybe it's because your content sucks and it's boring, and that's why I stopped watching it. I saw the writing on the wall. Okay, I unironically, I liked watching Leaflet more. I found her content more enjoyable than yours. Leaflet, and like that's because of how overt her rhetoric is, her messaging. Okay, she's an overtly racist person, okay, and she dog whistles as well. That's why people watch her content, okay? That's why I watch it, to criticize it, and that's why like racist people watch it. Okay, they like having their biases affirmed. They like hearing it said out loud. They like hearing the dog whistles. If you know, you know, that kind of thing. A wink and a nudge. That's it, okay? Smug Alana doesn't do that as good as Leaflet. And Smug Alana is just, like, boring. And she has failed to innovate her content. Her content is trash. There was a time where, like, I think people weren't really doing what Smug Alana was and is doing. But she hasn't adapted to the new ecosystem. She just... Like, I look at her content, and it's the same as it was a year ago. It's the same as it was 2 years ago. Maybe even further back. I don't know. But she's just, it's lame. Okay, do something different.
At Team YouTube. And you can see everything's very consistent, and then right on the 28th, boom, big drop off.
If your creation stagnates, your views will stagnate, okay? If your content stagnates, so will your views. That's how it works.
It's hard to talk about these issues.
In most cases.
People basically just saying, like, oh, well, you just fell off, right? It's hard to come off like you're not complaining, but these are very real issues, and it requires a lot of nuance, and unfortunately, it's hard to say anything, because this is all stuff happening behind the scenes. But what's happening here, for someone who consistently uploads, this is not normal. It's not normal to have a big drop-off out of nowhere. And as someone who's been uploading daily...
I mean, this isn't, like, a big drop-off, honestly. Like, she's still pulling in views. For those of you watching on YouTube, you can't see the graph I'm looking at, but she went from... looks like around 380k down to around like 220,000 views a month. Okay, so from like 380 to that's not like a, I mean, that's a big drop, but that's not like a, off the cliff sort of thing. Like, look, your content just sucks. Okay, that's it. You're not getting impressions because YouTube doesn't know who to present your content to. And by YouTube, I mean the algorithm. Okay, YouTube and the algorithm, contrary to popular belief, they do not have an agenda. Okay, they don't... Okay, if they do have an agenda, it's certainly slanted towards right-wing creators, okay, in my opinion. But I don't think they really do have a big political agenda. All they care about is keeping people on YouTube, putting content that they want to watch in front of them. Okay, that's it. That's it. So if your content if your channel suddenly stops making money, it's either because there was another adpocalypse, or your content just isn't getting put in front of people because there's no one to put it in front of. Okay, people aren't clicking on it. Like YouTube, when you're a creator, excuse me, YouTube is constantly testing your content. It is constantly putting it in front of people. That's what an impression is. And it's trying to find the personalities, right, that want to watch your videos so that they can recommend it to more of those same types. Okay, those same types of personalities. Okay, that's it. So if you're getting lots of impressions and low CTR, click-through rate, that just means that it's showing it to a lot of people and not that many people are clicking on it. Okay, but... And that is where most people see failure. Okay, but what happens is YouTube, like, even if you have low CTR and high impressions, YouTube is still saying, okay, there's like, you know, either we're testing your channel, or more likely, if you're a bigger channel, there are people that we know are the types that like your content. Okay, so we're showing it to them, whether they're clicking on it or not, you know. But if you have low impressions, what that means is, it doesn't necessarily mean that people aren't clicking on your video. It means YouTube doesn't know who to show your videos to. That's it. So it's only showing it to subscribers. Okay, subscribers don't count. If someone's subscribed to you, they get recommended your shit anyway. Alright, anyway.
For about 6 years now, yes, I've experienced weird drop-offs like this. You can't pinpoint why it's happening, but you know it's happening, right? You don't just have a gigantic drop-off out of nowhere like this. It is not organic, okay? And that's the issue with YouTube, right? You're at their mercy, and things like this happen all the time, where there's changes.
Yeah, so you're making a claim that somebody behind the scenes at YouTube is, even though this isn't exactly what you're saying, what you're really saying is somebody is working at YouTube and they're sabotaging Smuggalana and Leaflet. And that's just not what's happening. Okay, YouTube's moderation system is completely separate from the people that like control the algorithm. Okay, and let me tell you, the people that are working on the algorithm, they don't give a fuck about individual creators. They care about the algorithm. And Smuggalana is just kind of a shitty channel, okay? Like, even though I know you're aligned with her, like, you two are friends, you, Rev and Alana, like, or even if you're not friends, like, you're politically aligned, at least, kinda, sorta, and you occupy the same space. So, you know, you see her as an ally, okay? Still, though, you have to admit, this is just probably real, okay? This is just, I mean, it's obviously real. It's genuine. It's not inorganic. Her content just sucks, okay? That's it.
Just behind the scenes, and you're just kind of at the mercy of it. But you can see Team YouTube actually replied. They did not reply yet, at least as of now, to Leaflet's post, but they did reply to this one saying, we sent you a DM so we could get more details and figure this out together. Okay, that seems somewhat decent, but what exactly are they going to do? Right? This seems like a much deeper issue than whatever's going to be covered in a DM here, but we'll have to wait and see where that goes. But another VTuber, Kitsu here, came out and said, actually same BS for me. My impressions and reach dropped. I am in a 3-day jail. My videos are not getting suggested, and yet all they did was say it's working as intended and mock me. This has been my life for 2 months now. And you can see this email she sent to YouTube partner support, but they say, oh, thanks for your response. However, your channel has been fully investigated and it's working as intended. There's no internal team for such requests with a channel's performance. If you are not satisfied with having 2.8 million impressions despite only having 94,000 subs on your channel, yada, yada, yada. That is so passive-aggressive and unprofessional. I cannot believe they actually sent this.
What? No, that's not passive-aggressive. That's just... They're just telling her, like, hey, you're getting impressions. Okay, now, I don't know how often this person uploads, right? But, okay, let's do the math. Let's do the math. Come on. We're on the J-Star broadcast. We're going to do the math, okay? I'm pulling out my calculator. Let's see what we got here. So how many impressions was it? It's 2 million. So let's assume this is a VTuber, right? She's probably a streamer. Let's say she uploads 1 video a day. Around 30 videos a month. Okay, and she's getting 2,814,469 impressions per month. Right? That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. Oh wait. Oh no, that's in total. That's in total. Okay, my bad. Yeah, I was about to say, that's crazy. Where did I come up with per month? I don't know, man. I'm kind of stupid. Okay. Anyway, in that case, let's look her up. So she has 100,000 subscribers, 500 videos, and she has so they're saying she has 2 million impressions in total. Okay, she has 11 million views. Now we can't know how many of those views came from returning subscribers. Okay, but here's what we know. We know she has 2 million impressions over 550 videos. That's an average of 5,000 impressions per video. Yeah, I mean, that's just not that crazy, man.
For such requests with a channel's performance. If you are not satisfied with having 2.8 million impressions despite only having 94,000 subs on your channel, yada, yada, yada. That is so passive-aggressive and unprofessional. I cannot believe they actually sent this. You know this was an actual human being responding this time because AI doesn't have that kind of sass in them, but, like, this is crazy. That's a crazy thing to say. For someone raising complaints about their impressions or engagement randomly falling off seemingly out of nowhere. And with Kitsu and with Smuggalana in these situations, I can speak for myself as well. None of these people are in trouble with YouTube. They're not...
Well, it's the market is oversaturated. Like, there's too many VTubers. Here's what happened, okay? You guys, VTubers, you figured out a formula. And I don't know who started it, okay? I'm not, like, an expert in VTubing history or whatever. But you guys started doing a formula, and the well has run dry, so to speak. Okay, that's it. That's what happened. That's what I think. Like, let's take a look at my analytics. All right, I wanna see, because I don't usually look at this shit, to be honest. I just upload and I let it go. I let it ride. But let's see here. Trends? No, content. Impressions. Okay. Here we go. So, damn, I've gotten a lot of impressions. So, she has, like... I've already gotten 240,000 impressions in the last 28 days. Okay, but I'm up 126%. So that's pretty cool. Damn. I'm getting a lot of impressions. Well, let me look at the total. Wow, I've gotten over 1 million. Over 1 million impressions.
Facing strikes, they're not in any sort of penalty box from YouTube. It's just things are changing without any sort of notice or express reason given to you why it's happening. So you don't even know what to fix if you want to turn things around, even if you do accept that things have changed, right? But this set of replies to Kitsu is very funny, back-to-back. Smuggalana says, the gall to type that too. And then Team YouTube says, thanks for the tag, we'll look into this again, keep you posted. Which, we'll see again if that means anything, but you can see this reply. It raises some interesting points, saying, the supposed rumor is that there is an automated scoring system for a YouTube channel where once it crosses a threshold for a hidden spam or dangerous content score, the channel becomes siloed to a smaller and smaller group of viewers. Happens to a lot of channels before it gets hit with demonetization or channel ban. And Smuggalana says, yeah, I heard about that too. Even if you get no warnings or community strikes, the content inside can get flagged as inappropriate and gets nuked. Again, it's very hard to talk about these things because it's a bit of a tinfoil hat conspiracy. We don't know any of this for sure, but again, as someone who's been uploading daily for 6 years, like, I know that there's weird stuff that happens. And the way I kind of describe being a YouTuber, especially over the course of time, especially if you're someone who covers anything controversial whatsoever, like, if you're not like a family-friendly channel, it's gonna probably happen to you one way or another over time. It's basically like you're flying a plane, and over the course of time, every couple of months, something stops working, right? Like, the call attendant button stops working, or, you know, one of the engines stops working, and you just keep trying to figure out how to keep the thing moving, and that's kind of like YouTube, right? Where it's like, over time, certain things just stop working the way they're supposed to, like, notifications stop working for your subscribers, or I can even report from people telling me being forcibly unsubscribed from channels, like my own, for example, or, people not being able to find certain videos, or if you do that restricted mode, right? Where some videos just don't even show up at all under certain circumstances on your channel. There's a lot of very weird stuff that happens behind the scenes, and you're just constantly having to evolve, but ultimately the reach gets tighter and tighter and tighter over time, because YouTube wants to make way for more reliable sources of income, mainly Hollywood, the entertainment industry, celebrities, all that stuff. They want to be the next big streaming service, the next version of TV. That's their focus.
No, maybe, sorta. That's more like alternative, okay? YouTube is not giving up its bread and butter, which is just independent media, independent content, okay? As long as they are not held liable for the things that their users upload, they will continue allowing people to upload freely. And they will continue doing the same thing as usual, which is keeping people on YouTube for as long as possible. Okay, that means showing them the videos they want to watch, showing them the creators they want to watch. Smuggalana, nobody wants to watch her. Nobody wants to fucking watch her. That's why she's dead in the water. Okay, the writing's on the wall. Read it. Nobody wants to watch her. Now, Leaflet has some clout. Okay, and anyway, I think that the way YouTube sees it, some of her content is maybe, you know, a little too AI slop, a little too much. Okay, she might be getting hit with one of those things soon, and they'll bitch and cry about it. All of them will. They'll all say, oh, they're censoring us, it's political, okay? But it's not. YouTube doesn't want AI content to take off because people don't want to watch AI content when they know it's AI content, because they hate AI. That's why people don't want it. So YouTube knows that people don't want to watch it, at least when they know that it's AI. So they don't want that shit on their platform. They don't want like obvious AI slop on their so they're de-incentivizing it. Okay, it's too easy.
Everyone else is expendable. And the interesting thing is, well, other people have shared the experience, basically saying on the third day of a video being live, that's when all of a sudden the reach comes in, which is pretty debilitating for a video, right? Your first 3 days getting no reach, and all of a sudden then it expands. But, you know, I know many people could probably do the inverse of this, where they get all their reach in the first 3 days, and then it just flatlines. And that kind of is across the board. But Smugalana raises a good...
It just depends, okay? YouTube is constantly testing your latest videos. They're seeing who... Sometimes you're going to release a video that they test it with a new audience, okay, and then they're like, oh, okay, maybe this will work, and they start recommending it to more of the same type of users, and that's why it takes off after 3 days, okay? The first 3 days is when they're testing your video. They're trying to see who wants to see this, and then when they find, oh, these people want to see this, then they start recommending it to them, and then you get a bunch of views and impressions. Okay, once, like, if your click-through rate is high enough, and there's people that want to watch your video, but also the average view duration also plays into this, of course, because like I said, YouTube, they prioritize keeping people on the platform. Okay, every minute counts.
Set of questions.
That's the way it is.
I would love to have a data analysis of a bunch of YouTubers of varying sizes to show how many experience this, and break it down by VTuber versus non-VTuber to show if there's a correlation or not, because I know that non-VTubers experience this as well. Yeah, I think this is more of an across-the-board thing, but I think VTubers are always the first on the chopping block and the least cared about demographic among YouTubers. I mean, that's true on YouTube, that's true on Twitch.
What is your evidence of this?
I think that would be a very interesting thing for someone to
I just feel like
look through the data of many different content creators, both VTubers and non-VTubers alike, to see if there's any sort of a, well, pattern of behavior, something to look at here that maybe people could learn from.
What I just told you is the most accurate, the most in-depth description, most likely, that you are going to hear from anyone, 99% of people on this platform, at least. Okay, outside of people that actually work for YouTube, that is the most accurate description you are going to get of how this shit works. Okay, the algorithm is looking for types of users that want to watch a particular video. Once it finds them, they start recommending it to them. If the click-through rate is high enough, then your views just keep going up. Okay, that's how it works. That's how it works. And the higher your AVD is, the more people they recommend to as well. Okay, that's how it is. And also, like, engagement as well. Like, AVD isn't the only type of engagement. Of course, there's also like comments. Okay, YouTube tracks how often somebody checks a comment thread, right? If like somebody comes back to a comment thread to see if someone replied, I know they check that shit. They, you know, obviously track how many comments the video gets and how many replies you get in individual threads. That's the way it works.
You can say, hey, what's going on here? This looks weird. Are you gonna do something to fix this? Are you gonna be more transparent about this? Ultimately, YouTube has really been dropping the ball recently, and there's more and more noise, and as they switch over to AI moderation more and more and commit to more of it, I think we're going to see a lot more of this stuff happening. And it's up to people, especially content creators, to say something about this. And again, I'll put a link to Smugalana's main post and leaflets in the description. If you guys want to share those around and interact with them and hopefully get more attention from YouTube and maybe get some sort of a fix for all this, I hope so. But
all right, let's hear from the comments about how this is leftist agenda. Let's hear. Yeah, I mean, that's not the same thing, you know, cool. This commenter says, YouTube is cracking down on AI usage, even though they rely on AI to moderate channels. Fascinating. Yeah, well, the thing is that, like, the key is human intervention. Okay, YouTube doesn't care if you use AI in your workflow, as long as your content still looks like it's made by a human. Okay, that's all they only care about the perception. The surface level. Leaf got a strike for words someone else said in their video. Leaf got in trouble for what someone else said. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Like, she did, I think she kind of tacitly endorsed it, but they should strike Basecamp. It's ridiculous. I mean, they're the ones that actually did it. AI doesn't have that level of sass, not unless Nira Sama has become a YouTube moderator. I don't even know what model that is. Alright, well, my enemies are flailing. They are crying. It's hilarious.